Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem HaKakodash. And I want to say Shalom to our Knockout out there, someone that's true diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And I'm not sure what this lesson's going to be titled as on YouTube, but the real name of this is, something like the Most High is going to kill all the coons and tares, right? Or Most High is going to kill all the Uncle Toms and all you tares, right? Something like that. Now, is the title going to be that? Eh, even putting Uncle Tom is a little risky. So I'll probably have to come up with something, but that's the real name of the lesson. The Most High is going to kill all these coons, Uncle Toms, and you tares. And the past few days I've been on Instagram has been nothing but some Uncle Tom ass coons, all right, and some fucking tares, and they're really hard to differentiate. Now, you might be asking yourself, what do you mean by a tear? What do you mean by a coon? What do you mean by Uncle Tom? Right? Because there's a lady that actually gets called a coon in this. Now, it's a term because a lot of people think it's a lot of people think it's fucking slocky. I'm on this laptop and I hate laptop chiclet keyboards. They suck. So coon can mean many different things. All right. For YouTube's sake, it can mean raccoon. All right, that's how a lot of people word it as. But it's actually a term, and a lot of people say it's as a lot of the white people use it as a dehumanizing term. All right, similar to the N word, right? But it's a term that means something different for black folk. All right, the way our people use it. All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I don't know about so-called Latinos and Native Americans, but I'm sure they're familiar with it in that capacity as well. Is that it's used in the same way as Uncle Tom. That it should be able to. It should have a definition down here somewhere. Now let's see. You got the Jim Crow Museum, and it's got the coon caricature. And you see, this is how they would. You see, it says it's a similar it's similar basically as Sambo. It says it's an abbreviation of the word raccoon. It's dehumanizing. As with Sambo, the coon was portrayed as a lazy, easily frightened, chronically idle, inarticulate buffoon, right? So that's how Esau uses it, right? But the way Jake uses it is a little bit different. Let's try to find it. Um, because a lot of people don't know about it. You usually got to go and get Urban Dictionary, right? So let me go and see. We'll go on Urban Dictionary because I bet it'll have it. All right, right here. Coon. All right, what is a coon? It says. Now I gave this definition: a black guy who worships white girls and does not like his own race. Can be, but they got it better in the second part. It says a black guy who doesn't or barely claims being black. Um, then what else? It says oh there. This is the best one I've ever seen. A coon, a white supremacist trapped in a black person's body. And they say Kanye West is a coon. I won't say he's a coon. All right. You don't understand the things he says on Twitter. Reference to one of his songs. It says, right here, it says a term to discriminate black people in the early centuries by white people. Put them down. But, right, Jake reclaimed it, right, as Jake do. It says in the late 2000s, however, the premise of the term changed. More ethnicities started to call other ethnicities who put down their own communities in order to favor themselves, or other ethnicities who do the same. Similar to the phrase, Uncle Tom. Okay, so you can see it. Um, let's see. A black male, it doesn't mean black male, it can be a woman too. It says I'm going to fix it. A black person, all right, who acts white or European is an engulfed in that culture. Okay. So that's how it is. Okay. For those of you that don't know, all right, for YouTube that doesn't know, all right. So the so called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, tune means something completely different to our people. Okay. White people use it for a different reason. We use it for a different reason. It's the same way when they, call our people N words or spics or whatever, different types of names, right? Jake, a lot of the time, they'll take those terms back and do something with it in some capacity, and then really it pisses Esau off. Really pisses Esau off because they wanted to keep it as a slur, but Jake ends up doing something. So you know, but a lot of these people that you're going to see today, they're either Uncle Toms, aka Coons, or they might just be tears. And it's really like I mentioned, you can't just write someone off automatically. A lot of these people could be Edomites trapped in that Negroid body, right? They could be. They absolutely could just be a fucking cracker, all right, trapped. And that's why when you start learning, when you come into this truth, um, and you start learning about reincarnation, you start learning about how this is a seed line thing that goes through your father's line. Okay, they declared their pedigrees after their house of their fathers. Okay, as the scriptures say. When you start learning about that, it really starts to explain everything. You start to understand because we all knew those weird ass black kids at school, or those weird ass Mexican kids at school. I can't say I've met a whole lot of Native Americans. I mean, I didn't go to school a whole bunch of them. Being in Arizona for a bit, I mean, I've seen Native Americans, but I haven't hung out with them enough. They basically act a lot like Ishkar, right? They basically act a lot like Ishkar. They're so intertwined that they act pretty much the same, at least the ones that I've met, right? But they look a little different, right? You can tell they're Native American. But they've what was I going with this? They you have the ones that act a little weird. They act a little white, or they act a little not like everybody else, right? They act more like, instead of acting like their people, they act more like a white person, right? And that's how they act. A lot of the kids that were obsessed with anime, you can watch anime, but a lot of these kids were like, "Hey, my name's Jamarcus. How are you doing today?" Absolutely, right? Absolutely, senpai. I'm like, these guys. What the fuck, man? What the fuck are these guys? Um, and they're off putting. They're really off putting. And some of those people just got autism, and then the other half of them, you can tell when someone's got autism or not. Some of these people, they're really like, unless they got super autism or some shit. These guys, I'm pretty sure, were just Edomites. When I used to be friends with a kid, his name was JD. Now he could have been just fucked up, right? Could have been a fucked up Jake, but that guy was probably more than likely an Edomite. And what we're going to see today, like I said, it's hard to differentiate because you got the coons, which hate being black, or hey, you can use it really. I mean, it's mostly used for black folk, but I call them Uncle Juans, all right, because you got Uncle Toms, but when they're Mexican, I call them Uncle Juans. Okay, you got Uncle Toms and you got Uncle Juans, man. And you got these fucking Uncle Juans out here that are so obsessed with being white, man. They hate Mexican people. They say, oh yeah, these fucking beaners, these spick. We need to get them out of the country. And they vote for Trump. A lot of these guys, it's hard to tell. Same with Jake, all right, or seemingly someone who beat Jake, all right, a so-called Negro. It's hard to tell because they're so involved in the coonery or the Uncle Wanery that are they a Jake and they're just fucking a coon? Or are they really just an Edomite trapped in that black or brown body? So called black. Ain't nobody black. Alright, this guy's beanie's black. His skin ain't black. Right, his beard's black. His skin ain't black. So it's really hard, but this is why one of those things, you just gotta and that's why you can't be quick to write off someone as an Edomite. It's really hard, right? It's really hard. I haven't met these people in person. They could easily just be an Edomite as much as they could just be an Uncle Tom, right? There's a lot of our people that are just fucking Uncle Toms that just love the white man. All right, and they're Jakes. They're not Edomites. They just love the white man. So it's really hard to tell. All right, but with that, we're gonna go ahead and get in this lesson. I got three of these that I had. I think I had some other ones probably somewhere down in there, but these are the main three that stuck out to me, and I wanted to read because man, they're infuriating. So this guy. It's called Love Beyond Color Backup. And I guess this guy, I don't even know what he is. Like I said, it's really hard to tell. This guy's probably just an Edomite, if I had to guess, but I can't tell with some of his posts. So he has a couple here, and we'll read them. You got this one. It says, as a black person, it feels really liberating. Well, this is the one we're reading. I'm gonna have to take it away so we can read it though. So this is the one we're reading right here. One in the middle. It says, as a black person, it feels really liberating and powerful when you stop listening to the Democratic Party and you lose the victim mentality they try so hard for you to believe in. It's crazy what hard work and accountability can do for you in life. Love beyond color. And you can see he has all the colored emojis because he loves all people. There's another one right here next to it. It says, you can be in denial all you want, but it doesn't change the fact that Africans sold other black people into slavery. You're right. He fucked up and had a Freudian slip. Other black people, right? It wasn't Africans because the one originally that he made was said Africans selling Africans or something like that. I can't remember. And our people are not African. We're different. So he had a Freudian slip. You can be in denial all you want, but it doesn't change the fact that Africans sold other black people into slavery, and white people were the one who said, no, this is wrong. Let's end this, and fought a whole war to make it stop. Hmm. What about all the ones that fought to keep it? Okay. And what about after the Civil War? How long? How long were there? How long did it? When was Jim Crow era? And this guy, I think, is just an Edomite because this guy really has Edom. And I'm not going to say that because it's savage, but this guy, I'll give you a hint. This guy has an Edomite's specific part of their body in his fucking mouth. All right, that's what he really has. Okay, because this guy is on Esau's, all the fucking time. He's an Edomite. I'll say he's an Edomite dick rider. Right? That's what this guy is. All right. The white people were the ones who said, "Hey, man, we need to end this." Wasn't the black people? Like that one guy. All we do as black people is destroy. We don't create. All right. Black people are nothing. We ain't nothing. We just destroy. We can't make shit. We're worthless. Right? Talking like that. Edomite. Just an Edomite. Right? So white people were the ones who fought to a whole war to make it stop. There were also a whole group of people that fought to keep it. You fucking coon. All right. And I want to see, look, you have a lot of these people that saying this. A lot of the white people say, love you, love you. All right. But there's a lot of these people are Republican, right? It says, and I like this guy. He said, yeah, after 400 years, white people said, let's free the darkies, but not let them vote or drink from our fountain, and let's lynch them for our entertainment. I'm going to like that. It's absolutely true. This guy's a fucking coon, man. This guy's a fucking coon. And this guy, he might not even be a coon. This guy's probably a fucking Edomite. Alright? May Yahweh Shemiao strike this man dead. Babu Kasha. Alright? So may he send death and judgment upon you. Alright? It says, what else do we have? Um, not too many people. 90%, 99% of blacks and liberals avoid um, this fact. And this guy's name is Dolphin Dildo Mousetrap. Yeah, real fucking, real great information you got there. It says, girl, what? And, let's see. We have a lot of people talking here. Some type of Discord. Um, but you have a lot of people that are talking, oh, well, this or that, and this and that, and this and that. It's not victimhood. It's knowing your past. All right. You never got buck broke. You never had anything, right? Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened, right? Slavery didn't even happen, right? It's that victim mentality, right? You should never hold these people accountable. Even the thing is, if you had a guy break in your house and rape your wife, you'd never forgive him, right? But you had a guy do that in the past, and you forgave him. You're saying we need to forgive him. This is why you're a coon, man. This is why you're a coon. All right, what does this guy say? What does this say? It says, I don't want white people to judge me based off the color of my skin, so why would I label all white people as racist, especially when they're not? All right, well, you're right, not all white people, but you're referring to white people as a race, and there's no race as white people. You have people that look white, and then you have the Edomites, who the most of the people that look white are Edomites. Okay, but you have underliers such as myself. So, um, and people don't understand it. Like I hang out with these black guys at my job, and even today uh, they said, man, you act just like a fucking Negro. That's what they said, man. They said you really act just like a fucking black person, man. Say you really act just like a fucking black person. Another guy, and one of the other guys said, man, don't you know he is black? And they say he's black, man. He said they said something, and I always make the joke. I say, yeah, from Hustle and Flow. I say, man, I'm black. I'm just light skinned, right? Because I believe I go back to the tribe of Judah, right, which would be the so-called Negroes. So yeah, man, it's just, and I don't know, man. It's the same way with these people. You can just tell, look, it's not about skin color, it's about who you are. But a lot of these so called white people out here are the Edomites, just like a lot of so called black people are Judites. All right. A lot of the so called Mexican people are Ishkarites. Not all of us, right? Not all of our people go back to who we look like, right? You're going to have black people that go back, so called black, of course. So called black people that go back to Gad, so called black people that go back to Issachar, so called black people that go back to Naphtali, and a whole bunch of tribes, Manasseh, right? And Asher, all these different tribes. Just like you're gonna have, a person that's looks like an Israelite, looks like a Mexican, but they act just like a black person. Why? Because they really a Judite, all right, or a Levite or a Benjamite. So, um, you don't know, and it's just like my wife's a so-called black woman, but we believe she goes back to the Northern Kingdom, right? And she made the assumption she thinks I might go back to Benjamin. All right. So I thought Judah, but she says you might just be Benjamin. And I'm not sure. Right. I've gotten that I think maybe twice. I think so. Another person thought I was Benjamin, so I might just be a Benjamite. I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably. Who knows? I wouldn't doubt it. Um, but because she was saying you really you really like because Apostle Gabar is a Benjamite. He's really into music. Benjamites are always really into music. I said you might just be a Benjamite since you're into music. I said I don't know, maybe. I love me some Apostle Bar. Not that that has to do anything, but that's one you don't have a favorite prophet or anything like that. Man, I just love the way he teaches. All right, it just resonates. That's a fantastic apostle. Right, may Yahweh Shemi Shai blessings send blessings upon him. Right, and all the apostles are great millstones, brothers and elders as well, all the way on down. Apostles, elders, and brothers all the way down. Right, that are doing this thing in sincerity. Right, doing this truth and sincerity. So this isn't the one I wanted. I wanted let's see, where was it? It's crazy that so many black people don't even know that Africans sold other black people into slavery and white people freed them and ended slavery. People of color started slavery. White people ended it. Funny how you never hear white people bragging about it either. This guy's just a coon, right? This guy's just a coon or an Edomite, right? Why people mad? He's right. It says, this is great. Temporary servitude, because that's the thing. You had temporary servitude. Okay. For example, if we go to the scriptures, as we must, so I've been talking for too long. 19 minutes. Yeah, way too long. Temporal servitude, as the guy's talking about, because I don't even have to understand what the other guy was talking about. or what he's talking about, or what people are complaining about to understand what he's talking about. So a lot of people say, well, all nations did slavery. All nations did slavery, but they did it a little bit different than the so-called white man. Okay. They would eventually let these people go. Esau never freed his slaves. Okay. Eventually after all these changes, but what I mean is when they kept slaves, they would keep them and beat them and keep them until they died, all right, or trade them off. They would never let them go, right? Ecclesiastes 21, Slakia, Exodus chapter 21 and verse 1 says, Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve. Did Esau keep us for 6 years? No, he kept us indefinitely. He didn't do it right, you dumbass. All right, but you don't read the Bible because you're a bunch of fucking, slow-bellied ass, fucking pot-bellied fucking pigs. All right, that don't know shit, sitting around doing nothing but smoking black and mild. Like, this guy have a point. Kind of has a point though, for real though. Here it is. You're talking about, oh, well, people, white people. You're the reason. You're one of the reasons why white people look at our people in the first like that in the first place. But to quote my wife, she had a real good point on this. They always say, "Oh, it's because black people did this, or they steal, or they rob, or they did crime." What about when we were in slavery? We weren't doing none of that back then. All right, and you still hated us back then. Okay, so it's never been about the crime. That's just your reason for justifying it now. That's your justification, right? It was never about that. It's just you always fucking did not like our people. All right. What was it back in the slave days? We weren't robbing and stealing and doing anything back then. So what was your reason for not liking us? Right? Because now it's because we rob and we do this and we steal and but what was it before? Interesting, huh? Sock it. Fixing this nail up real quick. But yeah, man, it's always excuses with these fucking Edomites, man. So they didn't keep our people for 6 years. They kept them indefinitely, okay, and did not let us go, okay. So in verse 3 it says, If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go with him. They didn't do that in slavery. Guess what? They trade you to be evil. They trade your wife to another plantation and somewhere way far, so you never be here. They do it with your kids too. So they didn't follow any of the rules, right? They don't listen to the rules. It says, If his master have given him a wife, and she have bore him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. If the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. He said, I'm not going to go out free. I want to stay here and serve you, so I can keep my wife and kids. Then what? Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door and unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. There you go. So you would be essentially brand, and that's the mark of the beast is going to be essentially the digital awl, because that's you saying, I love my master Esau. I want to stay here with him and serve him forever. Not you, Lord. Right? That's what it is. So a lot of Jake just don't understand. So this guy gets it. He says temporary servitude is not the same as chattel slavery, for one, because people try to say, oh, it's everybody had slaves, not like Esau had slaves. There is generally temporary servitude. Okay? Well, the Romans were Edomites, and they didn't even do it like the modern day Edomites did it. They did it similar, but not to the full level. So it says temporary servitude is not the same as chattel slavery, for one, and for two, three, and for two and three, white men had to develop the concept of race to justify the transatlantic slave trade. Do you understand how fucked that is? They literally created the concept of race as we know it so they could enslave people guilt-free. Also, white men didn't end slavery. Slavery ended as a byproduct of the Civil War, but it was never the intent of the war. It's true. It was never the intent of the war. Lincoln literally said that if he could do it without freeing a single slave, he would. Bam! There you go. Um, this guy says, nah, you've skipped over history. Why is the word for black people in Arabic literally slave? And don't act like slaves were being treated as loved pets. Women in particular were treated terribly. Um, And this guy says, coming back against this guy, no, the transatlantic slave trade was started by the Europeans, primarily by the Portuguese in the 16th century, not Muslims. However, it's crucial to distinguish this from the long-standing Arab slave trade or sub-Saharan slave trade, which involved Muslim slave trade, and the Arabics did get a hold of us. Yeah, it says, and existed for over 1,300 years before the transatlantic system. White Europeans primarily targeted non-Muslims for the transatlantic trade. Muslim slave traders in Africa that historically sold non-Muslim captives into slavery. Also, let's get something straight. Portuguese people are not white. So there you go. So, you know, um, you know, what if we all acknowledged slavery was bad and stopped holding it against people who never took part in it? Wouldn't that be cool? You did have a part in it. All right, you're still benefiting it from this day, Esau. All right, and you're those same. First of all, you're those same people coming back through the reincarnation, and that's why you hate talking about reincarnation in the Bible, and you try to say it's not there. It is there. We proved it several times. We have lessons. All right, all the brothers that are doing the work in the will of Yahweh Shem Shai and putting lessons out. We all have lessons. All right. GMS has lessons. All right. The affiliates, we have lessons. All right. We have lessons all on reincarnation. Okay. And you don't like to talk about reincarnation because then you have to acknowledge that you're those same people coming back and that you did have a part in it. Let's say reincarnation wasn't real for a moment. Let's say it's not real. All right. It doesn't exist. Reincarnation is not a thing. Doesn't happen in the Bible. Never happened ever. It's just reincarnation doesn't exist. Cool. You still benefit from what your ancestor did. Okay, that white privilege that we're going to talk about that white privilege that you say does not exist still exists. Okay, still exists. And you say, well, what is white privilege? All right, white privilege is being able to walk into a business and not looked at instantly like you're stealing in there. Okay, there's one biggest example of white privilege right there. You're not going to get followed around in the store as much. Okay, you might get well, I got followed around. You're not going to get followed around as much as a dark skinned guy is going to get followed around. All right, you're not going to have your application thrown in the garbage just because your name is Jarvon Quavius Jackson. All right, black, throws it in the trash. All right, that you're not going to get that. All right, because your name's Michael Adams. Right, so they're not going to do that. They're not going to think something of you instantly when they see you in person because of the color of your skin. They're not going to say, "Oh shit," you know. They're not going to say that. Okay. For example, there's a black girl at my job. What's white privilege? Well, you're going to be, prejudiced against and thought of down low. So you're going to be treated like someone who's low. You're not going to be treated like that if you're white. So you're going to be privileged for being white looking because, and even me as a white looking person, I have some of the privilege that being a speckled bird, us speckled birds have a little bit more privilege because, until we open our mouth and they start talking to us and they don't like us. But if we just keep our mouth shut, we can get, for example, with Jake, when they look brown, they make you go down to the welfare office. All right, when I was on welfare, all right, as far as food stamps, I never had to go down to an office. Right, they made other people around me that are so-called black. They made them go. I didn't have to go. Right, that's white privilege. That's white privilege. Right, they made them have to fill out a certain amount of applications per week. Not all of them, but they started on that. I never had to do that. Right, and if I did, I'd write something, and they never checked behind me. The only time I had to do that was with unemployment, never with food stamps. All right, so there is white privilege, and if you don't think white privilege exists, then you must be white. Right, you must be white because it very well does exist. There's a bunch of examples of white privilege. As a matter of fact, you can go and look up. I'll look it up on my phone right now. Actually, we can just type it in: examples of white privilege. Interactions with institutions. This can include how individuals are treated within the justice system, educational institutions, or healthcare. Black people are locked up longer or given harsher sentences for the same crimes compared to white people. Okay, media representation. The way racial groups are portrayed in media can shape perceptions and opportunities. All right, white guy shoots up a school. Oh, why didn't we help this guy? Why didn't we give him therapy? We should have helped him. Why wasn't anybody outreaching? This is a mental health crisis, and we need to help our youth. Black guy does it, animal, criminal. All right, of course, he's a thug. He's a violent individual. Grew up in the ghetto and knows nothing but death. All right, his father was a gangbanger. Right, that's how they paint you as. Right now, oh, it's well, parents can't. If it was a white guy, well, parents can't always know what their child's going through. They might not have known he was acting or behaving like this. Right? Bear with me. I gotta go and get the charger for this laptop. Bear with me 1 minute. Bear with me, brothers and sisters. Here. Right. All plugged in. Oh, all right. Getting all in, getting all in. Give me a minute. Slack it. All right, let's get some more here. Now that we're all plugged in. Um, yeah, so they're gonna, trade you more negatively. Access to resources. This can involve differences in access to housing, employment opportunities, and financial services. People that have the big paying jobs, all right, they're white. And you're gonna say, oh, well, guess what? It's just because they got the degree. No, I'll give you an example. My aunt, all right, the person who I call my aunt, who's really not my aunt, white lady. She got a job, lied about her degree, makes 40 something an hour. Okay. And then she made a fucked up ass PowerPoint one time and they promoted her to just make PowerPoint. So now she makes nothing but easy little PowerPoints. If you don't know what that is, she makes slides that look like this, right? And they don't even look this good. $40 an hour. And she only has to do that for like maybe a couple hours a day. The other rest of the day she's playing Elder Scrolls Online, a massive multiplayer online game. Right? That's what she does. Okay? She plays video games all day while on the clock. Gets paid for it. That's white privilege. They would have never let Jake in there. They would have checked Jake's background. They would have checked him all on this stuff. They damn sure wouldn't have given him something that easy. Okay? So, yes, white privilege does exist. And if you don't think it does, then you must be an Edomite. You must be white. It says, what else do we have? Africans sold other black people into slavery. It weren't for white people. Black people would still be slaves in America. We're still slaves. We're still bought and sold. All right. Did you not know that? Did you not know that every birth certificate is bought and sold? Okay. I bet you didn't know that. Okay. Um, and we're still not free. Okay. We're still slaves to a system. Okay. We are still slaves. All right. Can you can you do whatever you want? Can you go and camp? No, can't go and camp. As a matter of fact, I'll go and get some. All right, they have made you a slave to their system. All right, sure, we're not slaves as in the transatlantic slave trade anymore, but there's different varieties of slavery. That form of slavery ended not by Edomites didn't end that. Yahweh Shemi Shai ended that. He put an end to that. We'd been through that. Now we're slaves in the society. Okay, and let me find the brother. We're slaves to a society. We're slaves. We're bought and sold in different ways. Okay, I want to find something, and you can't do nothing. You think you're free? I'm free. We're free now. You ain't free. Go and camp. Go and hunt. Go and fish. Okay, go and drive your car without going to Esau. Go and get married without going to Esau. Right? Just talked about this. Right? Can someone explain how this licensing liberty became this? You have to get a fishing license, a hunting license, a driver's license, a drone license, a barber license, a tattoo license. You shouldn't be getting that anyway. Massage license, travel agent license, contractor license, marriage license, camping permit, construction permit, solar panel permit, livestock permit, street vendor permit. You want to sell something on the street? Got to get a permit. Want to carry the gun that you bought? Got to get a permit. Want to burn something in your backyard? Got to get a permit. Burn. Protest. You want to protest what they're doing? All right, these Edomites are pissing me off, man. All these leaders are pissing me off. You got a permit for that? You got to get a permit to be able to protest. You have to get a permit to protest photography. Take a photo, right? In certain circumstances, I do street photography in the United States. You can take pictures of people without their permission. All right, I don't. I'm not as ballsy as it with other people, but I just snap like street side photos and stuff. And you know, You can play it off. There's certain tricks you can do, but I like street photography and stuff like that. So there's a way to do it. You got to be circumspect about it. Go and drive your vehicle without registering it, right? Nope. In some states, they'll pull you over and impound that shit. Boat, can't ride a boat. Can't get a bike, motorcycle. Building permit. Can't even build so much. You can't even build something on your own property. You bought this property. You think you own it. You're free, right? You own something shows that you don't own anything either. Guess what? Netflix. All right, that's why I own VHSs. Okay, I have Alien versus Predator out there. I have Total Recall. I have a bunch of movies out there. Right, two rows of a bookshelf full. Right, I told myself I can't get any more until I get rid of some. Right, or I might get some more maybe. I don't really need it because I don't watch it anyway. I just like to collect them anyway. But I don't want it to become a covetous thing, especially when I've had struggles with that in the past. But Esau, oops, Esau can't take that movie away from me unless they come and strip it from my hands, right? Netflix, guess what? You watch a movie, they can you rent that service. It's a rent service. They can take it away anytime. All right, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, all right, Nintendo, all of them, all the games that you buy on their service, all right, that isn't a physical copy, guess what? They can take those away from you. Okay? They can take those away. Those are just you're not buying the game, you're buying a license that gives you access to that for an indefinite amount of time unless something happens. Then they can take it away. So you don't really own that neither. So how free is that? You don't own nothing. You're renting your house. If you have a house, you have a mortgage on it, so you're still essentially renting it until it's paid off. All right. And then you got to pay for everything else. You can't even go out and get solar panels and put it on your house without having a permit to do it. You can't even get free electric. So I'm not going to pay them. I'm just going to get it. Can't do it. And then guess what you say? Oh, I'm going to just filter my own water. I'm gonna use my solar panels to get the energy for free, so I don't have to pay any electric bill. Then on top of that, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna make a distillery, and I'm gonna make a water purifier that operates off these solar panels, and I'm gonna collect rainwater to purify it and use that as my water in the house. Can't. Guess why? Because it's illegal to collect rainwater in a lot of places. You can't even collect rainwater. Why? It falls from the sky. Can't do it. Esau's made it to where you can't even collect water that falls from the fucking sky. Okay? They have all these things. Right? And then you see vehicle registration, boat registration, bike registration, building permits, parking meter, toll, land use, firearm license, parking entry fee, liquor license fee. And there's more fees on top of that. You're free though. You're free though. You just got to pay for going down this road. And if you want to go and hunt an animal, even though the Lord put them there, you got to pay Esau for it. All right. If you want to fish, even though the Lord put those fish there, you got to pay Esau for it, and you got to pay Esau for the license to get in your car to drive down there. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. All right. So, um, that's just how it is. That's just how it is, man. And but you're free though. But you're free. And a lot of the things that this guy said was just fucking stupid. Now he said Africans sold Africans and Africans sold other black people. And I'm glad that he said Africans sold other black people because he fucked up. Because that's a Freudian slip. All right, a Freudian slip is when you say something that's right, but you didn't mean to say it. All right, or something that you're thinking but didn't mean to say it. Like, for example, Freudian slip was like if you saw a bunch of gay guys and you said, have a nice fuck shit, have a nice day, right? That would be a Freudian slip, all right, because you're thinking that they're gay, all right? That's a Freudian slip. Or like that guy that said, ninja instead of neighbor, all right? We're just out here trying to talk to, uh, you know, ninjas. Oh shit, I'm so sorry, man. I meant neighbors, right? That guy. All right, that guy. So, yep. True limb slip. All right. But yeah. So first record I looked up on ChatGPT. First recorded people to have owned slaves. It says that's a deep one. Slave, yada yada yada. So, Mesopotamia, Sumerians, then ancient Egypt, and then of course you had the ancient China, then Greeks, then of course Israel, but ours was a little bit different. like it said, indentured servitude and foreign slaves. We're gonna have slaves, all right. We are gonna have slaves coming soon, but that's a little bit different, right? Because why? Because ours is a righting of a wrong. Okay, we're gonna put you into captivity, all right, like you put us into captivity, all right. An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You ever heard about that? You ever heard of anything like that? Now the world calls it something stupid. They call it karma. All right, that's an Indian concept, but the concept is very much around, and it's in the Bible. It's just not karma. Okay, it's eye for eye, tooth for tooth. All right, and you know, um, that's just how it goes. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. So if you do wrong, you're going to receive those wrongs that you did. That's just how it goes. So there was a Sumerian. So I said, what does the Bible say about Sumerians? So the Sumerians were Sumer or Shinar. All right, they are known as Shinar, and they're down through Nimrod. All right, he founded the cities in Shinar. All right, which goes back to Babylon. Later, Shinar is associated with Babylon. Okay, so that's all and these guys are Hamites. All right, these guys are Hamites. So I said, so what does the Bible say about the Shinar people, and what was Yahweh's thoughts on them? Um, and then it lists some scriptures, Genesis 10:10. In the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech and Akkad and Calneh. I'm not great with the names. In the land of Shinar, um, it's tied to the first great kingdoms. And everything's really based off of Babylonianism, right? And you can keep on going on and going on. Of course, they tried to make the Tower of Babel, all right, in which that's where we got all the different languages from. Um, So God's thoughts towards them, they were ambitious and united, but in rebellion, wanting independence from God's plan. All right, Yahweh wasn't against unity itself, but against their pride and attempt to make a name by reaching heaven without Him. He judged them by scattering them. Okay. So I said, so you have the Sumerians who were Hamites, then you have the Egyptians who were also Hamites. Says, yeah, exactly. According to the Bible's genealogies, both the Sumerians. And if I'm incorrect on that, brother can correct me. But going back to at least what I can find, the Sumerians seem to be Hamitic. Okay, Hamitic people, and of course the Egyptians were Hamites. Um, and so the ancient Egyptians would be classified as descendants of Ham, one of Noah's three sons. Here's the breakdown. So, and it goes down Mizraim, Cush, Canaan, and Put. So yeah. Oh, oh. So yeah, it really goes back to I don't see Israel in that lineup. Okay. Hamites sold Israelites. Hamites sold Israelites. Okay. First, some of the first recorded people to own slaves, all right, were Sumerians, Hamites. All right, Hamites. And then after that, it went to Egyptians, Hamites, Africans. These are the so-called Africans. Now, what are you doing over here? Those fucking people. Those are not us. Okay, they're not us. They don't even look like our people. Look, let's go. Let's go and look. Some of them do because there's a lot of Israelites over there as well, primarily in West. I believe it's West Africa. I think some in East Africa too. I think I heard, but these guys. All right. It's about the most Hamitic looking Jake. There's more out there, but this guy's a Jake. Okay. These guys do not look the same. Okay. These guys do not look the same. Okay, let's go get another person. Let's get so many Chris's I could have went with. Tucker, Brown, Rock. Right. Alright. These guys do not look the same. It's because they're not dark. Let's go get Wesley Snipes. These people do not look the same. They're not the same people. Okay? You wouldn't call them the same people. Right? But because sometimes Jake has, but you can tell in the skin color. Wesley Snipes is a very dark skinned man, and it still doesn't have this weird purple. Jake has reddish undertones. Okay, come on. Oh, I don't know why I won't, because I'm fucked up on this page. Had me stuck there. Fuck. But Jake has reddish undertones. Okay, reddish, orangish, right? Hamites have purple, blue undertones. Okay, we do not look like these people. All right, our people do not. None of our people, so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, do not look like these people. You can keep on going all day. You can go look up black people. Okay, our people do not look like these people. Completely different, completely different eyes. Their eyes are almost more Asian. Noses are completely different. The foreheads are completely different. Their eyes get yellow. Okay, their eyes get yellow. Okay, you ever seen that? Our people eyes don't get yellow. Okay, our people, black actors. All right, they don't look like these people. They don't look like these people at all. Look at these guys, man. Our people don't look like this. Our people do not fucking look like this, man. But constantly, they'll be like, "Oh, you're the same people. You're the same people." Our people don't look the same. All right, they don't look the same at all. And looks ain't everything, but our people don't look like that. Whoopi Goldberg might be a tear too. Might just be a super coon. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, they always say, "Oh, you're the same people." We're not the same people. You got us confused. Okay, Hamites are different than Israelites. Okay, you got why are we not Dominican American? Okay, our people. Why don't you call so-called black? Well, you call our people African American. Why don't you call them Dominican American? Look closer to the Dominicans, really, right? Why not Dominican American? They're black people too, right? These people not black, as you would call them, right? Why don't you call our people Dominican American? Okay. Why don't you call our people? Why don't you call our people Haitian American? Right? Here's Haitian people. Why don't you call our people Haitian American? Haitians are black, so called, right? Why don't you call our people Haitian American? Okay. What about Jamaicans? Okay. Why don't you call our people Jamaican Americans? Right? So-called black folk do look like this, right? That's because that's Benjamin, right? So why don't you and Haitian as well? All right, that's Levi. Okay, so Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. All right, why don't you call our people that? Dominicans, of course. The Dominicans are what tribe is that? On the right one. Dominican, Simeon. So the Simeon. So they're not in Northern Kingdom, or it's like they are in the Northern Kingdom. They're not in the Southern Kingdom, which make them they're not even what they would be called so-called black folk. They would be considered in the Latino and Native American type, right? So, but out of all the Northern Kingdom, they're probably the darkest out of them. And so, but why don't you call us Dominican Americans or Jamaican Americans or Haitian Americans? Or here's a heathen. Um, where is that place, man? They're Hamites over there, but they look a little different. Ethiopia, right? But they're Hamites over there, as you can see. But some of them look like Jake. Some look like Jake, depending. Um, Why don't you call our people Ethiopian American, right? Why not? Why is it African American? All right, because that's what they chose. Right? That's what they chose. They told you who you are. Esau chose who you would be, and they chose that you were African. So you're African. Okay? You're not African, you're an Israelite. All right? But they replaced the real Israelites with white people over there. And even, I think it was, who was it? He was Iran. He was the president of Iran. He said, we'll never accept um, Israel because they left black and came back white. Okay? They left black and came back white. And it's a real fact. All right. That's oh, you Hebrew Israelites, you came up with it. No, we didn't come up with anything. He said it. All right. Back in what was it, the 50s, 60s? He said they left black and came back white. Look, 1958. Okay. Right here. They left black. When he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, said the Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black, but they came back white. So there you go. And even down here at Reddit, this person was saying most Jews have become so intermingled with the populations of East Europe and others, they have lost most of the similarities with the surrounding Semitic because they ain't the same people. It's not that they become so intermingled; they're not the people. Okay, they're not the people. That's why Germany helped them out. Really, they try to say that it was the whole look that the whole fucking that whole thing was a lot of that was a hoax. Okay, and I'm not talking about I may or may not be talking about certain events. You can't assume, okay? But a lot of that stuff was fucking fake. That's why they had the transfer agreement where they helped, and they say, "Oh, it wasn't that many. It wasn't that many German Jews." But no, it was they helped a lot. Okay, they helped a lot go over there and basically set up in the night and plan the 1948ing. Okay, where they went and went forth with the Nakba and killed off the Palestinians that were dwelling in that land, all right. So they could take it, so they could declare the state of Israel as their promised land and be like, see, we made it back to our promised land. And, the Lord's fulfilled, prophecies and whatnot. But there's still war in the promised land. If you were delivered, then there wouldn't be any wars anymore. Right. And where's your slaves? And there also would be everybody would be worshiping under the name of the Lord. And you have people out here that are Catholic, you have people out here that are atheists, Satanists, you have the Hebrew Israelites. So there's multiple different things. Wouldn't we all just be Jewish? Right? Wouldn't we have to be forced to be Jewish? All right. Wouldn't you have us as captives if you were the people? Wouldn't we be serving you? Well, you are serving us in a way, but no, we would be, hands and knees serving you, right? Picking from the trees serving you, right? Not, this little stuff that you got going on now. So you're not the people. You're not the people. So Ecclesiastes 21 and 16, it says, the talking of a fool is like a burden in the way, but grace shall be found in the lips of the wise. It's like a burden in the way. These people are in the way. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about, man. They really don't know what they're talking about. And probably approaching an hour already. 53 minutes. These people don't know what they're talking about at all. So they're just some coons, man. And the Lord's gonna kill these people. Uh, how many of these do I want to show? I'll show this one. This one, I'll play this clip. I'll just play it. Here you
We
go.
be able to burn the American flag in the name of free speech?
I mean, why not?
You think we should be able to burn the gay flag?
Well, I mean, why would you want to burn the gay flag versus burning the American flag?
Some people don't like gay people. Some people don't like America, so.
Well, I think the people who don't like America have like ancestors who were brought here and forced to work, and forced to do a lot of shit they didn't want to. Gay people just happen to exist.
Like black people?
Yeah, like black people.
Who sold the black people to America?
Oh, that's what you on right now?
So again, black people sold black people. No, 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 no. Africans sold Israelites. That's what it is.
I'm just asking.
Girl, I'm done with that.
No. Why? Do I sound smart?
I told you about oppressed people.
And so she's a Republican. You can see, why do I sound smart? Republicans are some of the dumbest motherfuckers, and Democrats are some of the dumbest motherfuckers. You're just well, you're dumb in different colors. All right, you're dumb in red and you're dumb in blue. All right, both the same dumbass thing. All right, you can get a strawberry lollipop and you can get a grape lollipop at the end of the day. They're by the same fucking brand. They're just different flavors. Same fucking thing. They're the same sucker at the end of the day. Same flavor, or no, same different flavor, but the same fucking sucker. All right.
The American flag, and then you turn around and talk about
I can't hear you.
the black people.
And what's the answer? Black people sold their people to Americans. A coon. I'm a coon now because she called me a coon.
Wow, that's racist.
I'm darker than her though. That usually doesn't happen.
Huh?
You're a coon though. You're a coon. Might just be an Edomite, honestly. But I don't know. This is the one that I think might probably just a coon. I think she's just a coon. I don't think she's an Edomite because she's actually dating a Jake man, a dark skinned Jake man at that. Married to him. So hey, props to you. But that's some coon ass shit. And other than that, I mean, she's she's pro life, anti abortion. So I support that. All right, love that. All right, because fuck abortion. You are just killing people out there, and that's her name's Savannah, uh, Antio. And other than that, man, for the whole abortion thing, I support you on that, right? Because abortion, we ain't with that shit. That's killing people. So you're right on that. But saying that's some coon ass shit. That's some coon ass shit. Just stick to the abortion stuff, man. Look, these Republicans don't care about you, but you're right. You're right with the abortion stuff. Keep up with that. But don't, these Republicans don't care. You're just a coon tool to them at the end of the day, man. Okay? They don't care about you, man. But you know, seem fine enough other than that, other than the coon stuff. I mean, I don't know too much about you, but you know, not too bad. Other than the fucking coonery shit you do, but every black Republican is a fucking coon. Here's another coon. Now this is by Turning Point. Now it's by this guy Charlie Kirk. All right, he's the guy that founded Turning Point USA. It's this asshole, right? This asshole. A lot of you seen him in social media. He sets up and does stuff, right? See him like this. This is how he usually looks. Like a dollar store Seth MacFarlane. Um, so it says controversial things that he said or done. He said that Juneteenth is an ideological effort, Fourth of July, and it's a neo-segregationalist federal holiday. It's a pagan garbage. I wouldn't say it's pagan. Um, but I mean, technically, if anything's not with the Lord, it is pagan. So technically, it would be. Um, but he questioned why Black Americans feel they even needed a separate celebration. Why just celebrate our stuff? Um, exploiting the racial divide to reach Gen Z. He's been accused of exploiting racial divisions. Um, all these dumb, different fucking things. I said racist comments. Black pilots. He said in 2023 he made a comment saying if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. All right, Juneteenth comments. There you go. Chris is a Martin Luther Coon. Um, and he was a coon too. And he has pictures with fucking elites and shit like that. So he was a coon. Martin Luther Coon Jr. All right. Martin Lucifer Coon, as the apostles call him. And then uh, in 2025, a former member of Texas A&M released screenshots of a group chat that contained racist, homophobic, Islamophobic messages. The messages included defensive comments about immigrants, Muslims, alphabet people we don't get a shit about, and George Floyd. The group chat was reportedly shut down to protect the integrity of Kirk's visit, but the incident raised concerns about the normalization of extremist rhetoric in youth political groups. So let's go and look up Charlie Kirk. Chat messages. I'm sure he just came out and said, I'm sorry. We're sorry. Right? That's how they do it. But yeah, man. So, anyway, here's this guy. This guy that this girl acts. And here's another coon for you. Might be an Edomite.
Privilege.
So you don't
Wait a minute.
like privilege?
I believe in all privilege.
So you don't believe that people of Caucasian race have certain privileges over any minorities?
No, there's nothing a white person can do that I can't do. Can you name something a white person can do that I can't do?
No, that's all I want to know.
No, I'm serious.
No, I don't want, like, I don't, that was my only question and my only statement. In an ideal society, there would be no racism, but I don't think, at least, like, America as a country, I don't think we have the capability of doing that right
No
now.
country has the capability of getting rid of racism.
And this guy rubs me as an Edomite as well. Um, there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things that you can't do right now. You can't walk into Wall Street and get have the ends. All right. Well, what white person could do that? A lot of white people. All right. A lot of white people just have ends that you do not have, Jake. And it's the same. You're just basically like that fucking coon Lil Wayne. I was young. I shot myself with a gun. And meanwhile, every other cop came in my house looking for drugs. I did not believe in racism because one of the officers there was white and he helped me while all the other cops were looking for drugs. Do you not do you not realize what you said? Not having any idea what you said. You said all these cops came in your house looking for drugs and one white cop to help you. Cool. It could have been a Jake. All right. All the other ones were looking for drugs. Isn't that right? Why were they looking for drugs? That's racism. They were looking for drugs because they saw you were black and you had a gun. They said, drugs, drugs. So you really don't get it, Jake. A lot of you were either coons, out there, or a lot of you were just terrors. So let's get Proverbs 26 and 12. We're gonna get ready to close out. And it says, "Seest thou a man wise in his own conceit? There's more hope of a fool than him." And what does this mean? You see a person that's wise in his own mind, his own thinking, his own doing. More of a hope of a fool than him because you can't tell that guy nothing. Yeah, you can't tell him nothing. Um, what else do we have? Um, this is probably what I'm going to close out with. Sirach 22 and 13. Let me get a couple more. Let's see. Really, you guys envy the oppressor too much, so I should get that. This is Proverbs 3 and 31. It says, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." Y'all love the oppressor, man. He's your favorite. You want to be just like him. You want him to be, right there with you, and it's just ridiculous. And let's get one more. Let's get Proverbs 18 and 2. Oops. Proverbs 18 and 2, it says, "A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself." So these guys, they don't want to hear nothing. All right, they're going to continue being the coons that they are, the Edomites that they are. We don't know. And they're not going to change. All right, because a fool has no delight in understanding. They don't care to get to understanding. They don't care. Okay? They don't care. They'd much rather believe what they want to believe because it feels good to them. All right? That's what they want. Right? So There we go. Socket. This is Ecclesiastes 22 and 13, then we're going to go ahead and close out. But it says, talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that hath no understanding. Beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. Depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted with madness. So, get away from these people, man. Get away from these people. Because all it's gonna do is it's just gonna have you pissed off. All right, you're not gonna learn anything from it. So you see somebody on the road like that, and just walk away from 'em, man. Just ignore them. Like, I don't do interviews. Sorry, walk away. Okay, don't give them nothing. All right, don't give them nothing because these guys don't want to learn nothing. Don't even argue with them. They don't want to learn nothing. They're the same thing with these bug out groups. They don't want to learn nothing. Look, they're set in they're fully persuaded in their own mind that what they're doing is right. Okay, and you're not going to be able to get them out of that. They don't see that they're reading the scriptures wrong. Okay, they don't see it. They don't see you can talk about, oh, well, this and that, this white privilege, and they're going to say no, no. As my name is Demarquavius Darnell, Lasharion, Don Quan, Levon, Rachel Jackson, I'm going to be just fine enough getting a job. No, you're not. No, you're not. Okay, no, you're not. Okay, and you can get your foot in the door if you don't have a name like that. Because I hear a lot of brothers that say, "Oh, don't name your kids stuff like that." And yeah, you probably shouldn't be naming your kids something like that anyway. But I also subscribe to the idea. They say, "Oh, don't name your kid like that," because they're going to throw the application in the trash. I'm under the impression, look, even if your name's Alan Watson, all right, if you go in there, as soon as they see your black ass, they're going to throw your fucking application right away after, right? They're going to throw it away right after. Even if your name is Billy Whiteson, all right? Billy Billy Ray Whiteson, all right? They're going to say, oh, Billy Ray Whiteson, okay, let's get him in. Oh, and he's a Negro, all right? Right in the trash. But, that's, I guess you could, get your kid a foot in the door. But at the end of the day, as soon as they see, melanin walking through that door, they've already just made, oh, shit, right? Oh, God damn it. Right? As soon as they see you. So, not saying what those brothers say is wrong. You shouldn't name your kids stuff like that anyway. But at the same time, it's just don't name it. It's going to cause more issues for them. But with stuff like jobs, you know, I mean, a lot of people say they'd at least like to have I'd at least like to have my foot in the door before they slam it in my face. I mean, hey, I'm not a dark skin like that, so I wouldn't know. But if they're gonna, if the net outcome is me not getting hired either way, must not be my name. All right, but I wouldn't name your kid no ghetto ass shit anyway. All right, there's just a reason for that. Even though some of those names, some of the parts of those names, I won't say some of those names, some of the parts of those names go back to Hebrew. Um, they have a connotation, they have a stigma on them right now. So I wouldn't do it. All right, it's the same way you don't want to name your kid a something in full Hebrew because it's just a stigma. You don't want that. Not the time nor the place. All right, this isn't our rest. So we can't try to fit in with these Edomites. All right, at the end of the day, like we gotta, we try to live peacefully with all men, but we can't try to, bend to their way and oh, you never did nothing wrong and nothing like this. Of course, this isn't stuff we're just gonna talk about with random people, but you can't forgive the things that the Edomites did, man. And you got to think about the other way around. If we did it to them, they would have never forgiven us. Okay, they would have never forgiven us. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. They still haven't forgot um, a lot of things. Okay, they still haven't forgot a lot of things, but we got to forget. Okay, we have to forget. They didn't forget 9/11. Never forget. They didn't forget this. They didn't forget that. They didn't forget the things we did in the past. But we have to forget the things they did in the past. Right, or else we're wrong. Nah, fuck you, E. Right? So these guys are dumb. The Lord's going to put all these guys to death, Edomite or not. And stay away from these people, man. You're just going to get a headache going around them. So we're going to close out there. Lord willing was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Dash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Till next one, Lord willing. Shalom.